are all fascinated by anything big and tall.
Thanks, sir.
That's Andre the Giant.
Especially when it's a person standing head and shoulders above everyone else. If you've ever wondered about just how tall humans can really get, then stick around, because we're about to show you 20 real-life giants who are walking the earth right now. Ulana Siova. A Lithuanian of Russian descent, Ulana Siova dominated women's basketball for the Soviet Union throughout the 1970s and 1980s. At 7 feet tall, she stood head and shoulders above every competitor of her era, not just in stature, but in skill. Her size, 21 feet, the largest ever recorded in women's professional basketball at the time, became part of her legend, yet it was her agility that truly set her apart. She moved with the lightness of a guard, making her nearly unguardable in the paint. By the time she turned 16, Ulana was already a star back home, held up as everything the Soviet sports machine wanted to show off. Crowds watched her everywhere she went, whether in Europe or at the Olympics. Her long arms made shots nearly impossible to block, and her quick feet left opponents guessing wrong every time. Even now, people remember how she used her size to scare rivals, but the next woman is more of a gentle giant. Rumesa Gelgi. Guinness World Records has officially recognized this Turkish advocate and web developer as the tallest living woman since 2021. She also holds the titles of having the largest hands, the longest fingers, and the longest back among living females, and currently lives in Turkey's Karabakh province. Weaver syndrome, an uncommon disorder marked by rapid growth, causes her condition and affects men 3 times as often as women. Because of it, she typically uses a wheelchair, though she can walk short distances with a walker. On September 28, 2022, Turkish Airlines laid a stretcher across 6 chair rows on one jet. Just to fly her from Istanbul to California. In November 2024, she met Gheorghe Muresan, the world's shortest woman, for the first time at a Guinness World Records anniversary event in London. A feature-length documentary covering her journey, titled Rumesa. Walking Tall became freely available on YouTube in early 2026. She continues working as a front-end web developer alongside her advocacy, balancing a technical career most people never associate with record-breaking height. Officially, she still holds the title, though the next giant's measured height has unofficially surpassed hers. Jang Zu. 18 years old and already 226 centimeters tall, this Chinese center is closing in on Yao Ming's all-time NBA height. Born May 1, 2007, in Shandong Province, to 2 former professional basketball players, she reached 5 feet 2 inches in first grade and 6 feet 9 by 6th grade. She made her senior national team debut on June 13, 2025, scoring 18 points against Japan in a tune-up for the FIBA Women's Asia Cup. Chinese state media nicknamed her the Moving Great Wall, the same title once given to Yao Ming himself. She turned professional on January 4, 2026, scoring 15 points in her Women's Chinese Basketball Association debut against a roster stacked with former WNBA players. At her listed height, she is taller than every player in WNBA history, including the league's tallest ever center, Margot Didek. She is only 5 centimeters shorter than San Antonio Spurs star Victor Wembanyama, the tallest active NBA player. She will not be eligible to join the WNBA until 2027, when she turns 20. And until then, She continues to dominate Chinese and international youth competitions. Jang is still growing into her records. The next giant on this list needed an entire basketball career rebuilt around his feet. Yao Ming. Larger than life on opposite sides of the world, this man stretched 7 feet 5 inches into space and changed the face of basketball forever. He delivered his enshrinement speech for the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame as part of the class of 2016. He appeared on 8 All-Star teams, averaging 19 points and 9 rebounds per game across his career. He also won 3 gold medals and 3 MVP awards at the FIBA Asia Championships. The Houston Rockets selected him first overall in the 2002 NBA Draft, the first instance of a player with no American college experience going number 1. The Rockets retired his jersey number 11 in 2017, the same year he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. He later became president of the Chinese Basketball Association, helping reshape professional basketball infrastructure across the country he once represented as a player. Decades later, his own height record at 229 centimeters is now being chased by an 18-year-old player from his own country. At the same time, the next man on this list became one of the most feared wrestlers ever. Paul Donald White. Better known to wrestling fans as Big Show, he is an American professional wrestler and actor, currently an in-ring performer for All Elite Wrestling and a commentator on the company's web television show. He spent 1995 to 99 in World Championship Wrestling as the Giant, then 1999 through 2021 in the WWE as Big Show. He was 7 feet 1 inch tall when he joined the Wichita State University basketball team in 1991 at 19 years old. Successful surgery on his pituitary gland in the early 1990s stopped his growth before it became life-threatening. White has been compared to Andre the Giant throughout his career, as both men have acromegaly and a similar body structure. Unlike Andre, who never sought treatment and died at 46, White's early surgical intervention is widely credited with extending both his career and his life expectancy well beyond his predecessors. He has since undergone hip resurfacing and bilateral knee replacement surgery, the long-term physical toll of competing at his size for over 3 decades. The next man on this list let his condition run its full course, and it made him the tallest living human being on Earth. Sultan Kosen. In 2009, this Turkish farmer became the first man over 8 feet tall, as measured by Guinness World Records, in more than 20 years. Guinness knows of only 10 confirmed or reliable cases in history reaching 8 feet or taller. His height never stopped him from kneeling to cook food for his own family. Pituitary gigantism, caused by an excess of growth hormone, produced his unusual size even though his parents and 4 siblings are all average height. Unable to finish school because of his extreme size, he began working as a farmer to support his family instead. In August 2010, gamma knife surgery on his pituitary tumor, performed by the University of Virginia, finally halted his growth hormone production. In October 2013, he finally married. He also complained for years about being unable to find clothes or shoes that fit him, and struggling to fit into a standard-sized car. Galatasaray signed Sultan as a teenager, though he was ultimately too tall to play competitively. As of 2026, he remains Guinness World Records' tallest living man at 8 feet 2.8 inches, a title he has held for over 15 years. Kosen's record has stood for over a decade. People still wonder what the NBA would have been like if the next giant had not been politically sabotaged. Yong Hun. Also known as Michael Rioux, after his favorite player Michael Jordan, he is a retired North Korean basketball player believed to be his country's tallest person, standing 7 feet 8.5 inches and weighing 282 pounds. Preparing for a potential NBA debut, he trained in Canada, where several clubs scouted him. He was ultimately ineligible to play in the league due to U.S. trade restrictions under the Trading with the Enemy Act of 1917. In 2000, the U.S. State Department permitted him to compete in America on the condition that none of his earnings returned to North Korea. North Korean officials responded by refusing to let him leave the country. Kim Jong-il reportedly told NBA scout Tony Ronzone he would allow Rioux to play professionally if the signing team paid the North Korean government in wheat. In a CNN interview, Rioux stated, "I'm a huge man. I want to put my abilities to the test. I'm not interested in money or politics as a sports person. I simply want to try." On December 28, 2011, North Korean television broadcast footage from Kim Jong-il's funeral showing an extraordinarily tall figure in the crowd, believed to be Rioux. No verified sighting or confirmation of his status has been made public since that broadcast, leaving his current whereabouts and condition unknown outside North Korea. Politics kept Rioux off an NBA court entirely. While other giants have cashed in on their huge frames, the next on the list sees it more as a curse than a blessing.
A very big one, and then BBC came and covered me on that, and then a lot of media houses came to me.
Sulamana Abdul Samed. Known locally by the nickname Awuche, meaning "let's go" in Hausa, this Ghanaian man was born in 1994 in Ghana's northern region. In 2022, a local hospital attempted to measure him and ran out of scale, with a nurse improvising a tape measure against a wall and estimating his height at 9 feet 6 inches. That number went viral worldwide, but the hospital itself admitted it lacked the proper tools to confirm it. A follow-up BBC measurement in early 2023, using a 16-foot tape measure, recorded his actual height at 7 feet 4 inches. He has been diagnosed with both gigantism and Marfan syndrome, the latter causing the curved spine visible in his case, and continues growing roughly every 3 to 4 months. He still requires monthly hospital visits, and the brain surgery that could halt his growth remains financially out of reach in Ghana's public health care system. Before his growth accelerated at 22, he had moved to Accra, hoping to save money at a butcher shop and eventually become a truck driver. He has said publicly that he does not resent his condition, telling reporters he believes it is simply how he was meant to be created. Local fundraising efforts in Ghana continue trying to cover the cost of surgery that could finally stop his growth before further complications develop. Samed's height is still unofficial. The next giant on this list built an entire bodybuilding career on a frame most doctors would call medically impossible to compete with.
Definitely was my best package, and it was my 4th show. I was ready. I was here. I was ready.
Aaron Reed. A professional bodybuilder and former WWE wrestler from Tampa, Florida, this 6'7" athlete is one of the world's tallest bodybuilders. He is officially the tallest bodybuilder ever to win a men's physique competition. Inspired by his idol Arnold Schwarzenegger, he built a successful career as both a professional wrestler and competitive bodybuilder. He has also become a published author, writing a book about nutrition and healthy living. Reed did not always have it easy. He was stricken with leukemia as a child, then with hepatitis during his WWE career. He overcame both and continues competing today. Reed has cited his recovery from leukemia as the driving force behind his bodybuilding career, training in part to prove his body could still be pushed to elite physical extremes after years of treatment. He continues mentoring younger bodybuilders, often speaking publicly about balancing extreme size with long-term joint and cardiovascular health. Reed built his size in a gym. The next man on this list was simply born too big to fit through most car doors. Brahim Takiola. A Moroccan man who formerly held the Guinness World Record for the largest feet, he is officially the second tallest living person on Earth, standing 8 feet 1 inch tall. Footage shows him stepping into a car and looking nearly as large as the vehicle itself. He doesn't always look as tall on camera, since the people walking beside him are often nearly as tall as he is. When a dozen of the world's tallest people gathered in Paris, crowds greeted them feeling, in his words, very, very small. Another part of that same trip shows him posing in front of the Eiffel Tower alongside several of his tall friends. His feet, once measured among the largest on Earth, required custom-built shoes for most of his adult life before the record passed to another claimant. Takiola's height was already finished by adulthood. The next giant on this list was still outgrowing both of his parents before he turned 13. Robert Babroski. A former Romanian college basketball player standing 7 feet 7 inches tall, he attracted national attention for his unusual height from a young age. He moved to the United States in 2016, attended high school in Geneva, Ohio, then enrolled at Rochester University in Michigan, where he played until the 2021 to 2022 season. At age 8, he was already taller than his mother, and by age 12, he had surpassed his father in height. Between ages 8 and 13, he was even taller than Robert Wadlow. History's tallest documented person had been at the same ages. Near constant medical investigation throughout his life has led most doctors to credit good genetics rather than a hormonal condition or overgrowth syndrome. He weighed just 190 pounds at his high school basketball debut in January 2017, giving him a body mass index of just 16.1, technically underweight despite his height. His family later worked with endocrinologists for years to confirm there was no underlying tumor, ruling out the conditions that caused gigantism in several other entries on this list. That distinction makes Babroski one of the rare cases in which extreme height developed entirely without an identifiable medical disorder. The next giant on this list built his frame deliberately, one brutal training session at a time. Martin Ford. A British bodybuilder, actor, and social media influencer, he stands roughly 6 feet 8 inches tall and has built a reputation around his physical stature. Because of his intimidating appearance, he is widely known as the Nightmare. He played professional cricket before switching to bodybuilding and establishing himself in the fitness industry. He became well known for his exceptional physique, particularly his enormous stature and muscularity. He has competed in numerous bodybuilding competitions and built a large following on platforms like Instagram, where he documents his fitness journey. He has also dabbled in acting, appearing in several films, and remains well respected in the bodybuilding community for his discipline. In 2022, Ford trained for a highly publicized boxing match against strongman Eddie Hall, a fight ultimately canceled after Ford suffered a heart attack during preparation. Ford turned his size into a brand on social media. The next giant on this list became the NBA's first-ever Indian draft pick. Satnam Singh. Born Satnam Singh Bhamara, this Indian professional wrestler and former basketball player is currently signed with All Elite Wrestling. He became the first Indian player ever drafted into the NBA when the Dallas Mavericks selected him with the 52nd overall pick in the 2015 draft. Standing 7 feet 2 inches tall and weighing 360 pounds, He played center after attending IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. He was already 5'9" at age 9, taller than most adults in his hometown. His father introduced him to the sport and installed a hoop in a dirt courtyard near their home. By 14, Singh stood 6'6", weighed 230 pounds, and wore a size 18 shoe, modeling his game after Yao Ming and Dwight Howard while idolizing Kobe Bryant. After his basketball career stalled in the G League, Singh transitioned into professional wrestling, signing with All Elite Wrestling and becoming one of the heaviest performers on the roster. His draft selection in 2015 remains a landmark moment in Indian sports history, opening doors for the country's basketball federation to expand youth scouting programs nationwide. Coaches across India still cite his journey when recruiting tall teenagers who might otherwise never consider basketball as a viable path. The next giant on this list became college basketball's tallest player ever, then walked away from it within 2 years. Sun Mingming. A former Chinese professional basketball player, he is recognized by Guinness World Records as the world's tallest professional basketball player ever measured, standing 7 feet 9 inches and weighing 370 pounds.
I'm 7'9". It's 2 meters 36.
He did not start playing basketball until he was 15 years old. He played 1 season at Ventura College, a community college in California, during the 2005 to 2006 season before turning professional. He has played for several American minor league clubs, including the USBL Dodge City Legends, the ABA Maryland Nighthawks, and the IBL Grand Rapids Flight. The Harlem Globetrotters drafted him in 2007, making him the tallest player in the team's history, though he never actually played for them. In the summer of 2005, doctors discovered a benign tumor on his pituitary gland. His sports agent organized a fundraiser to cover the over $100,000 in hospital costs, and the tumor was successfully removed on September 26, 2005. After basketball, Mingming largely retreated from public life in China, occasionally resurfacing for charity and exhibition appearances tied to his record-setting height. His Guinness-recognized title as tallest professional basketball player ever measured still stands, unchallenged by any active player in any league worldwide. Mingming's career stayed mostly in the minor leagues, and just like him, the next person had never touched a basketball in his life until a recruiter saw him. Tacko Fall. Born Alhaji Tacko Diop Fall, this Senegalese professional basketball player came to the United States at 16 years old and later played college basketball at the University of Central Florida. Undrafted in the 2019 NBA draft, he signed with the Boston Celtics shortly afterwards. Standing 7 feet 6 inches tall, he is one of the tallest NBA players and among the tallest living humans on record. At the 2019 NBA Draft Combine, his measurements set records for tallest height in shoes at 7 feet 7 inches, longest wingspan at 8 feet 2¼ inches, and highest standing reach at 10 feet 2½ inches. Before basketball, Fall barely touched the sport in Senegal, only picking it up seriously once an American Academy recruiter recognized his rare combination of size and mobility. He has since played for the Cleveland Cavaliers and several G League and international clubs, most recently suiting up for the Ningbo Rockets in the Chinese Basketball Association. His mother stands 6 feet 7 and his father 6 feet 8, both well above average even before accounting for the genetics that produced his own extraordinary frame. Fall's wingspan alone outmeasures most NBA players' full height. The next giant on this list is literally one of the best players ever to grace the league. Shaquille O'Neal. Known to almost everyone simply as Shaq, this American former professional basketball player now works as a sports analyst on Inside the NBA. Standing 7 feet 1 inch tall and weighing 325 pounds, he won 4 NBA championships across a 19-year career, spanning 6 different teams. He is regarded as one of the greatest basketball players and centers of all time. The Orlando Magic selected him first overall in the 1992 NBA Draft, launching a career that would also include stints with the Lakers, Heat, Suns, Cavaliers, and Celtics. Outspoken throughout his career, he once responded to a question about former Lakers teammate Kobe Bryant with, "I'm sorry, who?" These days, in addition to analyzing games, he performs internationally as an electronic dance music DJ under the name DJ Diesel. The next giant had a medical condition that hospitals couldn't even measure properly. Brock Brown. Standing 7 feet 9 inches tall, this man from Michigan landed his ideal job at a sports center after once being told he likely wouldn't survive past puberty. He was previously named the world's tallest teenager before adulthood. Born with Soto's syndrome, a hereditary condition also known as cerebral gigantism, his growth was extreme from early childhood. Already 5 feet 2 at nursery school,
I'd say Brock was about 5'2" when he was in kindergarten. Middle school.
he has always required custom-made clothing and sleeps in an 8-foot-long bed. A very high BMI has led to diabetes, and his imposing stature now makes walking physically difficult. Despite the severity of his condition, he has finally realized his lifelong dream of working at a YMCA sports center. Soto's syndrome affects roughly 1 in 14,000 people worldwide. It typically causes rapid early childhood growth that slows by adolescence, unlike the pituitary conditions that drive most other cases on this list. Doctors who initially doubted he would survive infancy now describe his case as one of the more stable long-term outcomes documented for the syndrome. Olivier Rioux. Once just the world's tallest teenager, this Canadian center has become something far bigger in the years since the original claim was made. Standing 7 feet 9 inches as of 2025, he made his college basketball debut for the Florida Gators on November 6, 2025, becoming the tallest player ever to appear in a Division I game. He grew from 6 feet 1 at age 8 to just over 7 feet just before 7th grade. And Guinness recognized him as the world's tallest teenager in 2021 at 7 feet 5. He redshirted through Florida's 2025 National Championship season, then scored his first college points on a dunk against St. Francis that December. On March 31, 2026, he announced he was entering the transfer portal, leaving Florida after 2 seasons to continue his career elsewhere. Height runs deep in his family. His father stands 6 feet 8, his mother 6 feet 1, and his older brother 6 feet 9, all of whom played volleyball or basketball competitively. Rioux made history before he made a roster spot. The next giant on this list made the pros without ever touching an American gym as a kid. Gheorghe Muresan. Ridiculously huge, even by NBA standards, this Romanian center became best known as the Washington Bullets' towering center, standing 7 feet 7 inches tall. That height makes him the tallest player ever to appear in an NBA game. In the 1995-96 season, he averaged over 15 points per game and led the entire league in field goal percentage. He is one of the few players who can say he faced Shaquille O'Neal and came out relatively undamaged. At the height of his fame, his outsized stature and earth-shaking baritone earned him a starring role in My Giant alongside Billy Crystal, and a cameo in Eminem's video for My Name Is.
My name is. My name is. What? My name.
Before any of that, he was simply a tall, tough kid from rural Romania looking for a reason to play basketball.
In basketball, you're never big enough or small enough.
Muresan's height comes from a pituitary tumor that caused gigantism throughout his childhood. He later played briefly for the New Jersey Nets before retiring in 2000. More than 2 decades later, he remains one of only 2 players in NBA history measured at 7 feet 7, tied with fellow giant Manute Bol. Since retiring, Muresan has worked in real estate and continues to make occasional public appearances tied to his basketball legacy in Romania. The next giant on this list owes his size not to a single disease, but pure genetics. Paul Sturgess. Officially measured by Guinness World Records. In November 2011, this British former professional basketball player stands 7 feet 7 inches tall and weighs 325 pounds. He was the tallest college basketball player in the United States and wears a size 19 shoe. He held the title of Britain's second tallest man until Neil Fingleton died unexpectedly. Teenage medical examinations confirmed that his growth was healthy, attributable to familial tall stature rather than a medical disorder. His biological father stands 6 feet 10 inches tall, with additional tall relatives on that side of the family, while his mother is 5 feet 5 inches tall, and his younger sister is 5 feet 6 inches tall. After his basketball career, Sturgess signed with the Harlem Globetrotters, touring internationally as one of the team's tallest ever players. He later transitioned into modeling and acting work in the United Kingdom, leveraging the same height that once made him a basketball curiosity to build a media career. Sturgess never made the NBA. The final giant on this list is a man that's too huge for his sport. Kristof Van Hout. The title of tallest goalkeeper in the world comes with its own set of complications, and this Belgian shot stopper deals with them every match. Standing 6 feet 10 inches tall, he has played for Delhi Dynamos and is reportedly the tallest active player in professional football today. Standing beside his captain for pre-match handshakes makes the height difference instantly obvious. Being this tall does not automatically make him a good goalkeeper. Keepers need to react fast, and that much extra height and mass can slow reflexes that smaller goalkeepers don't have to fight against. Van Hout has played professionally across Belgium and India, with his unusual reach giving him an edge defending corner kicks and crosses despite the trade-off in lateral speed. Coaches who have worked with him describe his shot stopping on close-range headers as nearly impossible to beat, a direct benefit of his rare frame. Thanks for watching. Now check out the videos popping up on screen for more unbelievable stories.